So I just got done flying the Mirage Milan, the premium 9.7. Do I think you should buy this thing? No. We yet again on this channel have the ability to say this is the plane I hate the most in the entire game. And it's pretty funny because I say this pretty often, but Gaijin just keeps finding vehicles that are more frustrating to play. This thing on paper is very good. It's extremely fast, it has a pretty good engine, good power. The problem is, above Mach 1 you lock up. Above Mach 1 you cannot use your missiles. If you go below Mach 1 you dump all your speed. You still do not turn that well and you are still a Mirage. You are a Delta that doesn't turn very well. She is very heavy. This thing is the most frustrating experience I've had in a very long while, as you can probably hear by my voice, because I decided to record it just after I got done playing it. I did about 45 games and I have about a 45% win rate, which is probably the lowest on my entire service record. How do you play this thing? Well, you are supposed to play it fast, boom and zoom. But this way you're not able to kill anything, because you only have the 2 Devas and the 2 9Bs, which are beyond abysmal at this BR, especially the fact that you can't even use them above Mach 1. Very often I would almost opt to not take them, but then again having them is probably better than not having them, because you are still fast enough. That is just bad aim, that is not the plane. But this vehicle compresses very badly. It's just bad at high speed to begin with, and it's also bad at low speed, so you are kind of forced to fly this thing always around 0.95. and that's a Mach number. The problem with that is, you guessed it, going at those speeds makes it almost impossible to actually fly, because you are gonna dump all your speed in a singular turn. Then you are a sitting duck, and guess what, you also have no countermeasures. If this thing had countermeasures or good missiles, it would maybe be at least viable. As of right now, this is probably one of the worst grinders in the entire match, because simply you are not able to get kills in it very reliably. It's bad at high speed, it's bad at low speed. You're starting to see the problem here, and the guns are just Devas, very crit and hit prone, and they fail you very often. So you're just flying around the map. If you go max speed, what ends up happening is your team just dies. Very fun indeed. You cannot really 1v3 in this vehicle. You can try. It's able to run away from almost everything. You're almost untouchable in that regard, and you can dodge some missiles. You have some decent AOA. The problem is, if you get on someone and you go very fast, you are almost guaranteed to miss. I don't know how to say this without going in circles for the next 10 minutes. I tried to cut this down as short as possible, because I don't want to see this plane on my screen anymore. I went through this plane, I played it for almost 4 hours. Normally I get my footage a lot quicker, especially if I already know the vehicle, but this thing has actually sucked the soul out of me. So, if you like Mirages, will you like this thing? I will still say no. It has nothing that makes the Mirage good normally. Like the Mirage 3E, it's pretty heavy, but it has magics. You see, it has magics and it has flares. The other Mirage has magics, no flares, but it's a little bit lighter and it's a lot better at dogfighting. Then you have the Mirage in the Israeli tech tree. A bit worse, 10.0. No magics, but at least you have the A9Ds, and this makes it so that you can at least go very fast, dive in, and shoot a missile at someone that's not really paying attention. In this vehicle you are almost forced to third party people, and if you try to dogfight almost anything, even when they are abysmal at the game and they are trying to die to you, and I've had that a couple of times where they kept turning in front of me, at lower speeds you're just not able to get your guns on targets, because, well, it's still a Mirage. It's still French mostly. And it's very floppy at these lower speeds, just like you are used from the Mirage. Once you start going to those lower speeds, it feels alright, at least like in terms of Mirages. And you do have pretty good power. But at the end of the day, this thing just ain't it. It's not a consistent grinder. It's not a good plane out of the box. And it's probably going to go to 9.3. I've checked every Mirage Milan that I've checked. And this is everyone that I've seen in a Milan apart from myself. The highest KD that I've seen was 46 to 84. So just over a kill every 2 deaths. The highest kills per battle I've seen, 0.4. That's like 4 kills every 10 games. Highest win rate was of 53%. Now I checked about 20 Milan players. Not many of them, rightfully so. Most people stop playing it pretty quickly, which is understandable. So they're pretty far apart when it comes to finding them in matches. What isn't very far apart, however, are the stats. And I'm not trying to rip on these guys, because this thing is absolutely atrocious to fly. And if you think this thing is amazing, if you like it, be my guest. It's not, like, it has nothing going for it. And if you run into a MiG-21S, it does everything better than you. Everything. It might be a little bit faster on the deck, I guess, but it just absolutely rolls you over, spreads your cheeks, and shoves this entire right leg up your ass. If that sounds enjoyable to you, hey, I'm not gonna king shame you. But it is just absolutely appalling to fly. Other guy that I know, pretty good at the game, he actually liked it. He liked the vehicle for about 4 to 5 matches, then he actually started flying it more, and he hates it now. I'm starting to feel a trend yet. It's not that I'm trying to stat shame these people, because in the other vehicles, like some of these guys were of course the level 20 F5C players, but this time in a bad vehicle, so of course gonna perform worse. I'm not trying to pick on those guys. I actually saw quite a few guys level 100. I managed to run into a guy with God of War, almost only played jets. And guess how he did in it? 38% win rate, 2 kills every 10 matches, and you guessed it, he had about 7 kills and 45 deaths. Yeah, not doing very well. And he was going through the 3-1 in the other vehicles, not like he is extremely bad at the game or anything. But I've yet to find someone that makes this thing fly well. And the reason I'm not really covering the gameplay in the background is for a very simple reason. I completely lost it in the last 3 hours that I played this vehicle. I am beyond done. I do not want to see this plane on my screen anymore. And I'm watching it again. I'm experiencing the pain that I just went through again. The problem is, however, and this is the silver lining, it's a tier 6 premium for France. And it's basically the only thing you can take out to effectively grind the entire tech tree. So you don't really have an alternative, which is the very sad part here. But then the silver lining from that is there is not really a rank 7 plane that's good right now. Like, sure, the Mirage F1C is a lot more usable than it was before it got changed, but it's still not good. And in that regard, if you're looking forward to the Mirage F1C and you know that it's not the best and you just want to fly it because it's French, maybe you're patriotic and you just like French vehicles because they look good, and they do. That's very much the redeeming quality of a lot of these vehicles. Also, the mustache is absolutely useless, don't even bother. So maybe then you can just get your asshole ready for when you get to the Mirage F1C, because it's a lot better than it is to fly this thing. But oh my fucking god, is this thing frustrating. I have no words for it. It is absolutely abysmal. Like when I flew the MiG-23M on release, it was dog shit, but it was flyable. Mirage F1C on release, pretty shit, but it was flyable. Mirage 3E on release, it was horrendous, but it was flyable. You could at least kill people. This thing, it has the shit performance, bar top speed, it has shit weapons, and in the niche you're supposed to play it, you can't, because you get countered by missiles. And if you fly this plane in a very specific manner, you will be borderline untouchable, I'll give you that. The thing is, however, a lot of vehicles can do that better than this thing can. Because being alive for longer doesn't help your team. You can't even really put pressure on, because if you try to turn around, you lose your speed and you have to like make a very wide loop. And by the time you are back at the guy you are trying to help, he's already dead to him. Which is just fantastic. And if you turn in too quickly, chances are you will not actually be able to kill the guy that's shooting at your teammate. Then your teammate dies, and then you still die because you're now too slow to do anything. So in both scenarios, you accomplished nothing. I mean, if you look at the gameplay in the background, of course, I'm using like the somewhat highlights. And I don't want to turn this into me dying every 2 seconds. Because I simply... There is not even a thing here that I say I really could have done different. A few times I've died, sure. And it's like, sure, I made a bad call. But if the enemy played it right, I would have died regardless. So it's more like I made a bigger mistake than the enemy. But it doesn't teach you anything. I have a video coming up pretty soon here in the next few weeks where I did die and I lost the dogfight, and it's like, okay, I should have done this different. We can look at it together and I'll like explain to you what I did wrong, what I could have improved, blah 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 blah. Sure, I'll show you. But in this thing, it's just like, oh, you get a guy with a magic on your 6, you're done. Oh, it's 2v1. You try to dodge one, well, fuck you, you're out of speed now. Have fun dying. So, I'm just beyond done on this thing. I can't make a proper video on this vehicle. I smashed my head into the wall for too long. That F4C actually breaks his wing off trying to dodge a missile, which is pretty funny to me. But like, I'm drained. I'm actually drained. It's not been a great experience in this thing. I then proceed to kill a few guys in this game. It's like 2v1 at the end, and then I get missiled through a cloud. I mean, it's yeah, not a great experience. I'll just wrap it up here. I'm going to bed. I don't know what vehicle I still have to cover. Probably the Lightning, but fuck me, I don't want to fly that thing either. Probably gonna be better than this thing at least. I should have been flying that thing for the last 3 hours probably, but it's just a Lightning. That's yeah. Hope you enjoyed the rant. I'll let this play out, and I'll see you all in the next one.